What if I told you there's a completely different way to approach caregiver communication that could change everything? Sound too good to be true? Hi there. I'm thrilled you're here because by the end of this episode, you're going to discover how designing an effective communication plan with caregivers over the summer can make or break your September launch. My experience as an educator opened my eyes to understanding why summer silence creates anxiety while summer communication can create confidence. While some teachers are waiting until just before the first day of school to connect with families, I have discovered that strong teacher caregiver partnerships don't magically appear in September. They're built through intentional, consistent communication that starts well before school begins. Here's what you'll walk away with: a three-phase communication framework that I've created. It will transform how you connect with families, concrete timing strategies for each phase, and practical delivery methods and response systems. If you've ever felt like caregiver communication is overwhelming, or you're not sure how to build strong relationships before school starts, this conversation will feel like having a roadmap to success. Let's dive in. This is Schoolutions Teaching Strategies, the podcast that extends education beyond the classroom. A show that isn't just theory, but practical, try it tomorrow approaches for educators and caregivers to ensure every student finds their spark and receives the support they need to thrive. Welcome back to Schoolutions Teaching Strategies Summer Series. This is the podcast that helps teachers thrive inside and outside of the classroom. I'm your host, Olivia Wall, and today we're tackling something that can make or break your September launch: designing an effective communication plan with caregivers over the summer months. If you're listening to this in July, you're already ahead of the game. Summer communication isn't nice to have, it's essential for building relationships, setting expectations, and creating excitement for the year ahead. So let's dive in. So, why does summer communication matter? Think about it from a caregiver's perspective. Their child just finished one grade, and they're wondering who their new teachers will be, what the classroom culture will look like, and how they can support their child's success. Summer silence can create anxiety. Summer communication can create confidence. Research shows that strong teacher-caregiver partnerships can increase student achievement by up to 30%. But here's the thing: those partnerships don't magically appear in September. They're built through intentional, consistent communication that starts well before the first day of school. So today, I will offer you the three-phase communication framework that I used to use. It worked phenomenally for me as a teacher, and I think it could transform how you connect with your families this summer. Phase one, I called the welcome wave. This could happen in early July. This is your introduction. Caregivers need to know who you are as a person and as an educator. They want to feel confident that their child's in caring, capable hands. Phase two, I call the bridge builder. This typically happens in mid to late July. This phase focuses on practical prep and building excitement. You're helping families transition from summer mode to school ready mode. And phase three, I call the final countdown. This occurs in late August. This is about final details, addressing any lingering concerns, and creating anticipation for that first day. So let's go a little bit deeper into phase one. Let me give you some concrete ideas that you can adapt. You could use these for your initial welcome communication. Start with a warm, personal introduction, letting people know what your name is, how long you've been teaching in that building, what you've been teaching. Then you could share something personal but professional, what you love to do outside of the classroom, maybe something about your family, a hobby of yours, and what you believe learning should look and feel like for their child. Next, express your excitement about working with their child. Something like, I can't wait to meet each of your amazing children and learn about their unique strengths, interests, and goals. You could also tell caregivers what you're going to be exploring across the different content areas. and maybe something you're already planning as a project. Finally, I always provided a simple next step. Something like, in the coming weeks, I'll be sharing more information about our classroom, supply lists, and ways you can prepare for September. For now, I just wanted to say hello and let you know how excited I am for the year ahead. Then, moving to phase two, that's what I call bridge builder communications. Your midsummer communication should focus on three key areas: classroom culture, academic preparation, and practical logistics. For classroom culture, share your teaching philosophy in caregiver friendly language. Instead of saying, I use differentiated instruction, try, I believe every child learns differently, so I use various teaching methods to help each student thrive. Describe your classroom environment. You could say something like, our classroom is a place where mistakes are learning opportunities, questions are celebrated, and every voice matters. For academic preparation, provide specific but not overwhelming suggestions. If you're teaching fourth grade, you could say, to help your child prepare for fourth grade, consider reading together for 20 minutes each day. Visit the library and let them choose books that interest them. Practice basic math facts during car rides or while cooking together. I always tried to share one or two learning goals in simple terms. For example, you could say, this year we'll focus on becoming confident writers who share their ideas clearly and mathematical thinkers who solve problems in multiple ways. And don't forget practical logistics that caregivers actually need. Families are drowning in school information. I always tried to be selective and crystal clear about what they really needed to know. I found creating a simple FAQ format worked very well. I addressed questions like, when does school start? Where do I drop off my child? What should my child bring the first day? You could even consider creating a simple first week preview that outlines what the first few days will look like. Caregivers and children feel more confident when they know what to expect. And phase three, final countdown strategies. Your final communication should accomplish three things: address common concerns, build excitement, and provide crystal clear logistics. Make sure to address concerns proactively. You could say, I know some children feel nervous about starting a new grade. This is completely normal. We'll spend our first week getting to know each other, learning classroom routines, and making sure everyone feels comfortable and confident. I always tried to build excitement with specific details. I would mention something about our classroom environment, something we're going to be doing together as a community, and I'd also provide logistics. When I was teaching elementary school, I would say something like, on the first day, please arrive by 8:10 a.m. I'll be at the flagpole to greet students. Dismissal is at 3:15 p.m. from the same location. If you have any questions on the first day, our wonderful office staff can help you. And then let me offer you a communication channel strategy. Let's talk about how to actually deliver these messages. Most schools have preferred communication platforms, but here's what worked well for me: email, email, email. Email remains the most reliable for detailed information. It creates a paper trail and it allows caregivers to reference information later. Maybe consider a simple class website or a blog for ongoing updates. It doesn't need to be fancy, or even a basic Google site could work perfectly. If your school uses apps like Class Dojo or Remind, these are excellent for quick updates and reminders. Whatever platform you choose, just make sure to be consistent. You cannot scatter communication across 5 different channels. And we have to be cognizant of frequency and timing. Here's what I've learned about timing. Send your welcome communication by July 4th if possible. Parents are thinking about fall planning, and you want to be on their radar early. Your second communication could go out around July 20th. This gives families time to process and respond to your welcome message. Final communication should arrive no later than August 25th. It gives families a few days to prepare, but not so early that they forget important details. I avoid sending lengthy communications on Fridays or weekends when possible. Tuesday through Thursday tends to get the best response rates. And make your communication stand out. Personalization makes all the difference. If you have to access student information, reference something specific about each child when possible. You could use photos when appropriate and allowed by your school policy. Maybe a picture of your classroom setup or you reading a book could make your communication feel more personal and less formal. Keep your tone conversational but professional. I try to write like I'm talking to a caregiver at a coffee shop, not like I'm writing a business memo. And let's face it, you will get responses to your summer communications. Plan for this. Common questions include supply lists, homework policies, and specific academic concerns. Maybe even prepare a template of responses for frequently asked questions. It would save you time and ensure consistency in your messaging. And for complex concerns, you could suggest a phone call or in-person meeting rather than trying to address everything via email. I always respond within 48 hours, even if it's just to acknowledge receipt and let the caregiver know when I'll provide a fuller response. And before we wrap up, let me give you a concrete action plan you can implement starting today. First, block out time in your calendar for communication planning. Treat this as seriously as you would lesson planning because it's just as important for your success. Second, draft your 3-phase communications using the ideas that I shared. Don't aim for perfection, aim for authentic and helpful. Third, identify your communication platform and make sure you have access to parent contact information. Fourth, create a simple tracking system so you know who has responded and who might need follow-up. Finally, prepare your standard responses for common questions you're likely to receive. And remember, summer communication isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Every message you send is an investment in the relationships that will make your school year more successful and enjoyable. Your caregivers want to partner with you. They want their children to succeed. By reaching out over the summer, you're showing them that you're thinking about their child even before school starts. That goes a long way toward building trust. Thanks for listening to Schoolutions Teaching Strategies. If this episode was helpful, please share it with a colleague who might benefit. Have a wonderful summer and happy communicating. Schoolutions Teaching Strategies is created, produced, and edited by me, Olivia Wall. Thank you to my older son, Benjamin, who created the music playing in the background. You can follow and listen to Schoolutions wherever you get your podcasts, or subscribe to never miss an episode and watch on YouTube. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Send me an email at schoolutionspodcast@gmail.com. Let me know how you plan to communicate with your students' caregivers before the school year begins. And tune in every Monday and Friday this summer for mini episodes filled with tips and ideas that will help you prepare for September while still resting and rejuvenating this summer. See you soon for another tip, and until then, enjoy the sunshine and take care.